Good morning. I'm excited, and full disclosure, when I like to tell everyone when it's one of my clients, but if you can't have your clients, why have a Facebook Live? But I have with me this morning Dewey Steffen and he's the CEO, Chief Investment Officer of Great Lakes Wealth. And I'm so excited because finally I got your schedule. I mean, come on, it took a while, but I got you scheduled, and I'm so excited because you are a licensed investment professional for 25 years. I have to say that I think of you like an Energizer bunny. I mean, I really do. There's just always just full throttle. Go. I mean, it's just any conversation, you are just up for it, ready. You are with Great Lakes Wealth in Northville. You founded that investment, Great Lakes Wealth, in 2016, and it's just been go since. But I'm going to share with you, is amazing as your day-to-day. I think that when I started working with you, and we're going to talk about what you do day to day, but as your public relations office, director, I think like the thing that I get so excited about, and the thing that I got to work on first, was that you were turning 50. And I know, well, you know what? I am older than you, and welcome to the club. But I have to tell you, that's not the conversation. We didn't talk about Great Lakes Wealth. We talked about your community service and everything you do to give back. And you just hit me right in the heart. And I thought, wow, this is who I want to work with. I mean, it was so welcome to us talking publicly today. And I'm glad to have you, but happy birthday, happy into your 50th year. But it really was your, and I'm saying this publicly because I don't even think I've said it to you, but it's really everything you've done as a business, as a person. And it's the giving back that you believe so strongly in. So I'm going to start there. And I want you to, we'll talk about Great Lakes Wealth, but let's talk about you're turning 50 and you decide to have a party in the middle of the pandemic, is sort of, but it's not just like a party on a rooftop. You decide that you're going to raise just a boatload of money and you're going to give it all over the place. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, hi, Sari. Good to see you and the viewers. Thanks for having me on this morning. Happy Monday to everyone.
Yes.
Well, I think, yes. I mean, I think the last year and a half at this point, has been challenging for basically everyone in this community for sure, probably around the globe, but in this community for sure. And, as members of the community, we just want to be involved and, good community members, if you will. And so, I don't know, March. So my birthday was in June 3rd, for all of those out there paying attention.
Who still need to contribute or wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, I was going to say prior to the party, it was give the gifts in lieu of gifts, give it to the GoFundMe. But I'll take the belated gifts now. Okay. I mean, sweaters, extra large, long would be great. Anyway, so just kidding on all that. But yeah, no. So March, I mean, COVID was still, kind of a menace, and no one really knew. And here in the state of Michigan, there were requirements, guidelines of how many people could get together and where and when. And so we kind of, as a team here at Great Lakes Wealth, we kind of talked about, what can we do? And so I said, let's use my birthday as a platform. Our firm actually also turned 5 years old about a month later. So we decided, let's just kind of have a celebration. And we want to celebrate our clients for supporting our business. We want to celebrate, the successes we've had with the community, all of that. So we kind of just talked and really came up with the idea that we needed to have an outdoor event because of the guidelines of getting together. And we kind of decided we need to have some music. We needed to have a cause. We needed to have something to celebrate. And so my birthday was June 3rd. The state of Michigan opened up June 1st for larger gatherings. And so we actually took a gamble back in March and decided to use me turning 50 as an excuse to get all of our friends and vendors and community members and everyone around to just maybe donate $50. And so $50, times, 100 people would be $5,000, et cetera. So that was kind of it. We just let's do grassroots. And for me, celebrating a milestone birthday with my family, with my colleagues, with my clients and our friends in the community, it had to be here local, couldn't fly somewhere to a destination. So I just thought, what better way to celebrate than, I would cover the cost of the party. And then with Facebook, here we are, Facebook Live,
Right.
with Facebook and other social medias, we got the word out. So I was blessed to see friends. I grew up in Birmingham, Michigan. So I was blessed to see friends from high school, friends from college, current friends, new friends, and were made that night. So long story short, we just wrapped up the fundraising efforts actually formally, and proud to announce we raised over $25,000.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Basically $50 at a time. So to anyone out there who contributed, thank you so much.
I think what's so remarkable is that you can do it that way. You can say to your friends $50, and it means like, don't stop at Starbucks, that week. And I mean that week, but I mean, it's an easy thing to do as a corporate good community client, community effort. And I do think like that just tugged at my heartstring to be able to work with you. You gave it back to so many different community areas that meant so much to you, and it makes a huge difference in the year we just had. So many places couldn't have their fundraisers, and I think it just says a lot about the type of person you are and Great Lakes Wealth. So let's dive into Great Lakes Wealth. I think one of the things that when people hear financial advisors, wealth management, they think I must have to have all this wealth to knock on your door. So, let's break that down a little bit. Who should be seeing a financial advisor, and, who can afford it? Can the average person knock on your door?
Well, for our firm specifically, we kind of have a sweet spot of those investors that maybe have between 100,000 and 5 million of investable assets. So we're not actually the firm for those that are just starting out, but we encourage everyone to just get started. So if there is anyone out there that hasn't started in this day and age of technology, you don't need, hundreds of thousands. You can do it with $25, $50. Go to Robinhood, Betterment, even go to Fidelity or Charles Schwab, many, platforms. And an advisor, could be someone else, who's already in the market. To hire a professional, certainly you need to make sure that it's worth it. So you need to, interview them, the investment professional that, you may want to work with. So we definitely encourage everyone to work with a professional. However, that plays itself out. Don't go it alone. But even those companies I just mentioned that are for brand new investors, they have help desks and webinars or whatever else, so they can educate. And for all those in our community, actually on our website, greatlakeswealth.us, we have calculators and presentations and all sorts of information at the bottom of our homepage. We encourage everyone in the community to go there. You can type in your age, hypothetically how much you have now, and that'll tell you, if you click some buttons, how much you can have at retirement. And so there's absolutely resources out there for everyone. And I haven't said this in a while, but right now with investing, there are no excuses. Get out there and do it.
Well, I think you hit on a really an important area that, first of all, especially on your website, there are resources, and that you have to be budgeting, you have to be, we're living longer, we're maybe working longer, or we don't want to work longer. I mean, there's both ends of that. And if you want to retire, I always kid and say I'm probably never retiring, but that's because I like to work. But the bottom line is you need to be saving, you need to be thinking about retirement. You need to be thinking about how you put money away. And, I always say you have to go to the experts, you don't, you need to go and get resources. And that's why I really say to you, can you afford a financial advisor? And that's why, there are different levels. You grow into those different levels, as your money grows, you grow with your financial planners. But your website does offer an incredible amount of resources. And that brings me to one of the things that I say, what's unique about Great Lakes Wealth is that you offer some services in financial planning. I have to say, and yeah, I'm biased, I say it, it's okay, it's my platform. But you offer some services in looking that other people just don't do right now, especially in the cannabis. Michigan happens to be one of the biggest growth. It's one of the biggest growth industries. I happen to represent a cannabis client, but I mean, you really you really dive into, I meant to say, into areas that people don't. So speak to some of your services that you handle.
Sure. Well, the founding members of Great Lakes Wealth came from, Wall Street firms, UBS, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, et cetera. So our moniker here, our mission is to provide Wall Street solutions with Main Street values to our clients and the communities we serve. So with the communities we serve, if you can't be a client here or, are happy where you're at, et cetera, then again, use our resources, again, online, and, all that we offer. But for those that may be looking to invest, there are, major Wall Street firms out there. And if you have the investment portfolio that you determine you need to be at a firm that's out of New York or out of another national or international market, then you have that conversation, understand it. But for most in the community, it's kind of all cookie cutter, and so you're either a local firm that does not necessarily have a depth and breadth of resources. And so our founding team, we have those resources, we have those connections. So yes, again, Wall Street solutions with Main Street values. So we do offer a cannabis portfolio. Again, we've been running it for over 2.5 years. So we saw the writing on the wall of getting clients invested in things that are maybe not just traditional investments. We also do digital assets, which includes cryptocurrency, blockchain, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, all of the future tech, if you will. We also have access to private investments from those Wall Street firms. We're known as a registered investment advisory firm, so an RIA, which allows us to go direct to firms in New York, and we're not, buying and selling things for clients with commissions. So it's just it's bringing a Wall Street approach here, more local.
I love that, and I think that you can't pick up a paper or listen to the news, and I know we have you on the news a lot talking, especially about the digital assets. I mean, the younger investors, which there's a lot of young millennials are getting into it. I swear I listen to you. I try and learn. I still say I don't really get it, so I listen, intently. But I have a 28-year-old, and his friends are all into Bitcoin, and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm listening to Dewey all the time because I'm, but it's so interesting because, I think, back to the day of my grandfather and buying stocks and listening to, the stock market, and in just this whole trajectory of everything that's changed in our world. And you have to have an expert on your team. And I do love that your motto is, this whole Wall Street conception, but you're right here. You're right here with us. But I said it right from the start that, people often say, like, to me, like, when do you sleep? You're just constantly going. And I'm like, well, I have to keep up with my clients like you. And one of the fun things that you also do is a podcast. And the podcast, What Do We Do, is now in season 2. It's just so fun. And you've just launched season 2. I got to talk about your first guest, because, I'll let you talk about your first guest, but give a little history of your podcast and, what's coming up, and how, I'll just say, how do you find your podcast? I love when I used to do a podcast, people would be like, how do you find your podcast? I'm like, where every podcast is found, but tell me a little bit about your podcast. What do we do?
Sure. Yeah, we always say you can find the podcast through Podcast Nation. There's
Right.
so many different platforms: Spotify,
Right.
Apple, a podcast, Podbean. So I just kind of.
If you can't find a podcast, it means you don't actually listen to podcasts.
Right,
Is how
right. Yeah, Podcast Nation. And then we also have the YouTube world now. So that's kind of what we say. But actually, everything goes back to COVID, believe it or not. So when COVID happened, as a business owner, as a father of children, as a son to a mother, we really paid very close attention to what happened in March and April, and tried to do our best to be safe and make sure that the company, would be able to provide for our employees safety and security of employment and all that. And then certainly with our clients, trying to make sure that we were being tactical and providing the services that they were asking of us during that horrific and unbelievable, unprecedented time. So with that, we actually launched our website in April. So we came up with a brand new website, so people didn't have to come on in to, hear our story. They could go on to the website and get it, because everyone was obviously working remote, and now people are still remote or hybrid or whatever the case is. So it started with our website actually last April. And then a couple guys, good friends of mine, own a company here in town called Brand 25, and that's Mike Sullivan and Kyle Bogey. They were on 97.1 The Ticket last year, and they decided to start their own company and go in a different direction. And so they approached me and said, hey, with all that's going on, no one knows what to do. We need to know what to do. And I'm like, well, I can help, try my best to help. What do you need to know? And they're like, well, we think you should do a podcast, and we want to call it What Do We Do? Where we just ask you, in this case, Kyle was my co-host and Mike was the producer. And we just want to ask you questions every week, about what should we do? And it'll be, what do we do? So that's the name of the podcast. And so I kind of snicker and smile because I think it's kind of funny, but it's cute. And it's, whatever the word is, endearing maybe to some. But with that, so we started the podcast last June. And we decided to go from June until June, and then we took this summer off. But we had an amazing first year. Yahoo Finance wrote it up as one of the must listen to podcasts of 2021. We're approaching 15,000 total downloads between YouTube and Podcast Nation out there.
That's amazing.
So we took the summer off, and Kyle and Mike decided that they really had a lot going on in their world, and we came together as a group and decided that we should just wrap it up in a bow after season 1 and go in different directions as encouraging each other to greatness. So we just launched season 2. We have a new production team. We have a new co-host. Everyone out there may have heard of her, Brooke Allen from WWJ News Radio 950, daytime anchor. And so with all of that, we just launched season 2, and I ask you to go check it out on YouTube or your podcast station. our very first guest was none other than Mr. Wonderful,
That's right.
Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. Yeah.
So that was a fun one. And what do you think what does season 2 look like? What do you know, it's going to be different with Brooke and different type of guests, but what do you know, and hopefully a different vibe, because hopefully I like to say the pandemic's in a different place. We don't know where it is, but it's in a different place. So what do you hope to?
So I mean, we started with it being every week, and it really was Wall Street focused, investment focused. And as the markets rebounded, we decided actually, in the middle of season 1 to do a timely topic. So it was something that was on the news. This last spring was Dogecoin and meme investing with AMC and some other things. So again, we tackle those topics that are right there for today. But we also decided that a lot of investing is really timeless, and whether that's growth investing versus income investing. We always like to remind our listeners and viewers that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So you don't just have your primary employment or 1 or 2 side hustles. You need 7 streams of income to be an average millionaire. We like to exceed average, so we encourage our clients in the community to get 11, 10 or more. Go for that magic 11. But anyway, with that, so this year, season 2, it's the same idea of timeless subjects on investing as well as timely. And we also decided to get into our community and find leaders in our community that do have a story to tell, knowledge to share, and can give suggestions and recommendations on living your best life. So we had Darren McCarty, a Red Wing alum, the adopted son of Detroit, as they say. We had Lauren James from James International Group, the Tomey brothers. We had Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. We had Casey Herbis. He's the chief marketing officer at Rocket Mortgage, and he was on just a few days after the Super Bowl. They had 2 commercials there. So this year, we're going to have some amazing guests. We've already locked in guests through, I think, February of next year. I can't tell you who they all are, but if you
you can tell me, but you can't tell everyone.
Yes. Well, again, our next one is actually public information. It'll be next week, a week from this Wednesday, actually, and that is Mike Valenti. He is the lead on the afternoon sports talk radio show 97 The Tickets. And so he will be our guest on next Wednesday. We also have a brand new website for that. I think it's whatdowedopodcast.com. Check that out. Whatdowedopodcast.com. And we'll have some photos. We'll have some stories. You can actually go see all of the old episodes there. And we have a list of who's coming next. So anyway, that's it. We're just doing our part.
You're just constantly busy, but now I got to let you go because I'm like sweating thinking that I have to figure out 11 sources of income, investments.
Yes, you got to have 11 sources of income. Let's do it.
I might have to call you. 11 sources, huh?
Got to have it. Yes. Check out one of our podcasts. I don't know the number, but we talk about it, and we'll talk about it again for sure.
Okay. I got a busy. Apparently, I have a very busy Monday to get on that one. I appreciate your time. If you check out my link here, you will be able to find all those resources at greatlakeswealth.us. Dewey, you are always fun. I will be talking to you this week. You know that. So much information on that website, and definitely check out What Do We Do? The podcast. It's so entertaining, yet you learn a lot. And that's like the best podcast ever, where I always say the best class your kids can ever have is where they don't realize they're learning. So like, to me, I learned so much when I listen to you, because I always say this is just the area where I don't know a lot, and, but you get to learn a lot, and, you can't be afraid of it. You have to know. So you are the perfect resource for that. So have an amazing day. I'm going off to get 11 sources So I appreciate that.
Hey, sorry, how do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? Have you heard this?
No.
Okay, one bite at a time. So 11 sources of income, just one at a time. Don't have to go get 11 in one day. One at a time. Just get it going.
You got it. Have an amazing day. Thanks for spending time with me. I always love it.
Fantastic. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.